I was diagnosed with osteoporosis, which at my age was a big, huge shock. You guys literally just guide you from baby steps all the way up to bigger experiences here.
All right, so Connie, to start out, I would want to actually take a step back to before you started with NorthStar.
Yeah.
And just talk a little bit kind of where you were, fitness wise,
Right.
what you were looking to get, what maybe what things you were struggling with, and
it just I don't know if it was like a midlife thing or you just get to that point where you feel kind of sluggish and burnt out, and I'm not very self-motivated. So I knew I had a former coach in my the old city that I lived in, and I knew that I needed to do it for me and to get back at it, and I knew I needed help. So that's why I reached out to you originally.
Okay. And what were the things that in particular you noticed at that point? I remember hiking was a big...
I couldn't hike up the bluff. I was tired all the time. I mean, you work 50 hours a week or more. You do all the things, and then you run out of time to take care of yourself. And that's kind of where I was at the time. And so that's why I'm here.
Okay. And so as you're looking for a program, what were some criteria? What were your expectations when looking for?
I was never successful in just joining a gym. I just got intimidated and didn't want to reach out to a big environment like that. And I also, I would walk, and I actually have a fitness room in my house, but it got down to be accountability. I needed an accountability partner, and I knew from previous experience that that's how I had to do it. So.
Okay. Okay. So now, we'll fast forward a little bit. Do you want to talk just a little bit what you experienced in Florida and your accidents?
I will. So I was with NorthStar for a year and was doing great. I really enjoyed it. I'd added days to my workout. We were doing all the things, and then I went on holiday for a few weeks to visit my kids in Florida. And 2 days before I was supposed to come back, I was walking one of their dogs, and the dog took off behind me while he was on the leash, and it flew me up in the air, and I had a compression fracture on my T12. Yeah, which totally changed everything for me. And everything races through your mind. Immobility. Am I going to be able? I didn't know if I could get up off the ground. It was very serious. I knew I had pulled something. I didn't know it was compressed at the time. And then later that night, realized after the emergency room and all that my life was going to change right then. And it did. I stayed in Florida for an extra few weeks to get strong enough to fly home, made it back, and then reached out to you and Taylor. Just okay, I did this. Sorry. To put what I thought was a stop on my activities. The result of that, when I got back to lacrosse, was I was diagnosed with osteoporosis, which at my age was a big, huge shock. You typically think of that being like my grandmother, she was in her 90s. So I was kind of freaked out by that. It's probably one of the scariest things that's actually ever happened to me was that diagnosis. More so than the actual injury itself, because it was in my head then that I was going to be immobile. I was literally scared. Every training session with Taylor was more like counseling. I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this, but knowledge is power, and you have to research. The doctors instantly wanted to put me on a pharmaceutical drug. I went more of a holistic route because I did research, and weight-bearing exercises, resistance training is actually one of the best things you can do for osteoporosis. So I've done that. I've added vitamins and necessary supplements into my diet, obviously eating organic and eating better food and adding plant-based calcium, anything that you can do that way. But I think one of my biggest lessons in that diagnosis was that I could do things for myself. You don't always have to immediately go onto a pharmaceutical type drug. If you take proactive steps, it's going to be better for you in the long run. Will I have to go on a pharmaceutical someday? Yep, maybe. I don't know that. Right now, I'm working with Taylor specifically on things that we can do to gain the bone building capability back in my body. So it's something I didn't expect to be doing at my age, but here we are. So yeah, it's really important to do that. And honestly, had I not been coming here for the year before my fall, I think I would have been in much worse shape, 100%, because I had muscle strength to help support where I was weak with the compression fracture in my back. So had I not done that, I don't know if I would have recovered as well, because I had the core to survive that, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Or even when I landed, maybe I didn't, maybe it could have been, I could have fractured more, but luckily it was just a compression fracture, not a full burst. So that was really good. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, you
Okay.
did. You did. And you've had the fracture.
Yep.
And you've come back. What have you noticed since?
I think mentally, first, of course, you're terrified. I was afraid of everything. Taylor will attest to that. There's certain things I wouldn't do, or, I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid. Even now that we're several months past that, there's still things where I'm cautious. But having the ability to come here every day and knew that I was supported in my healing versus just sitting at home. Because sadly, the other side of this, the doctor, original doctor in Florida said bed rest, which is not what you should do. And then when I got back, maybe because I was stubborn too, I wasn't very good at bed rest. So I got up anyway. And, but it's surprising how much better how quicker I got better by being mobile than being still.
Right.
So that was the one really big thing that I learned, that your body needs to move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, are you back hiking?
I am.
Good.
I am back hiking. We haven't done the big one that I was so proud of with Taylor, only because of time, not because of ability. So yes, back hiking, back to most of my core exercises here. We still are sensitive around that T12, just to make sure that we're not going to do anything weird to it. But I mean, I feel good. I consider myself recovered. I don't have pain anymore. I'm very mobile, doing all of the things. So yeah, I'm very fortunate that I had Taylor to help me build back up.
Oh, very good. Very good. And what have you appreciated most about, Taylor, our service, be able to help you on your journey?
I think just the ability to flex with me. Like, we were at a way different level when I got hurt than when I came back. And I was a little frustrated because I felt like I had to start all over again. But I think we bounced back pretty well. And she would push me even when I didn't want to do things, which is why I need her. She would push me to do things that maybe I was a little tense about doing, but I would get there anyway. So
being able to adapt your program to where your current needs are, and make sure that you're doing appropriate amounts.
Yes, but still growing.
Yeah.
Like progress every time. And I think that's the biggest thing. And then she would trick me a couple times and give me a heavier weight than I anticipated, which is good for me mentally, because then I'm like, oh, she thinks I can do it, so I'm just going to do it. But there were times that I just would flat out say no. Like, nope, I don't think we can do this right now. That was mostly when I first came back, and I just was so sensitive to that. But I think now, like, even I can roll on the floor and get back up all by myself. I'm not grabbing the wall anymore, things like that. So definitely to do with working with Taylor, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll give the money a little bit later.
Yeah, when you're not in the room, I'll do it. I'll follow you out to the parking lot.
I think we've covered most everything
Okay.
we wanted to. I did want to ask just a little bit more on just, if someone were, interested in our services, or maybe they don't even know, for example, they're in the condition where they
Yeah.
got hurt or
Yeah.
they've gone down a certain lifestyle path that they don't even know what's possible from what we do, because
Right.
it's so different from what you're used to. And also just encouragement for what's possible.
I think it's just start is the most important word. Like when you and I first met, I knew that once I made the phone call, I knew I was ready. That was like my little cry for help. Like, I know I need to do something. So I would recommend people just reach out to you guys and just start a conversation. This environment here is so much different than going to one of the big box gyms, in just my opinion, because I have a scheduled time. I know Taylor's always going to be on the receiving end, and if she's not available, like if she's on vacation or something, one of the other trainers will be here. But I never have to walk in and feel like I don't know what I'm doing, ever. Like, some people are nervous to get on a treadmill, or some people are nervous to get on pieces of equipment in a big gym because they're afraid they're going to hurt themselves or they don't know what they're doing. But that's not the experience here. Like, you guys literally just guide you from baby steps all the way up to bigger experiences here. And even in the gym, there's like camaraderie. So like if you're sitting on the bike next to somebody, there's usually conversation. But because it's all scheduled, it just flows really easily here. So it's not the same experience where you in a big gym where you have to wait for a piece of equipment. And it's really just the knowledge that you guys give to the experience. And then for somebody who's busy like me, I have a full-time job, but I make time for my appointment. Then that's my personal space that I carve out in my work week. And that's, I think, critically important too. So like if work is holding you back, there's more to life than work. And your family will appreciate it in the long run. Because work will end eventually, but your life should keep going. Yeah.
That's really good.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah. Yeah, this is fun. I enjoyed this.
Taylor's great.
Yeah.
Again, I will.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Cash is fine. Okay.